So if you're in either of these two buckets, bucket A, you hold the SPX6900 token and you're a believer in their mission. Or bucket B, you want to get into the SPX6900, but you're just not sure about the altcoin yet. You must watch this video because it could potentially cost you millions of dollars if you don't understand the two things that I'm going to show you in this video. And I don't mess around on this channel. We get straight to the good stuff. So let's jump in. $10 trillion is going to be flooding into the crypto market over the next 12 to 18 months. That's because retail and normies are going to hear more and more about Bitcoin making all-time highs because it's tracking the M2 money supply. And all of that money is going to flood down into smaller and smaller coins, which give us our more volatile, crazier results, like our 50x's, our 100x returns. And a strong thesis of this cycle by a man called Murad is that meme cults, very important when we look at these two words, this is what we're going to be dissecting in this video, will attract 95% of the value. And I mean, that's pretty crazy because he's just talking of memes, of course, but that is trillions of dollars that is going to flow into meme cults. And if we can identify what specifically makes a meme coin a mission movement or a cult, we are going to be outperforming everybody. He says people are starting to understand this. Prepare for a face-melting rally across cult meme crypto because we are right here, which is where cults are separating how much value they absorb versus the trenches, versus the player versus player, 75,000 meme coins that are created every single day. Murad continues. Cult meme coins is the category that will create the most wealth in this cycle. So if you like to dip your toe into the pool of where most of the wealth is going to be created, you're in the perfect spot. Because just like I showed you that $10 trillion tidal wave, he's got this here as total money flow. It's going to be divided into Bitcoin, obviously a market leader, the safest, least volatile token, meme coins, and altcoins. But Murad's thesis, and we'll talk about this a lot on the channel, is that they have massive upcoming unlocks and crazy dilution schedules and really no utility, which sort of makes them a meme coin anyway. This is Murad's thesis. And he says they are, in most cases, overvalued vaporware. But meme coins in the middle of this barbell here, he thinks is going to catch most of the value. Now, some of it is going to flow into the meme coin gambling, the trenches, the player versus player. 50,000 new coins a day. This was back in February. Now it's up apparently to 75,000 coins a day. However, the green, and this is where Murad's thesis that a large portion of those trillions of dollars that are going to flow in are going to flood into cult meme coins. He says if you can identify the top cult meme coins, hold till the end of 2025, which is just 5-6 months away now, you're literally going to outperform everyone. You don't have to check back in. You can stop watching YouTube videos. You can stop scrolling Twitter. You can get back to building whatever you're building and literally just hold these meme coins. They're at the top of his meme coin pyramid. This might be a familiar sight if you do follow Murad, but basically it's like most of these coins are going to die out. The top 25 coins are going to be classified as cult coins, which if you think about things like Bitcoin, if you think about stocks like GME or Tesla, or you think about even meme coins like Doge and even XRP, which is not a meme coin, obviously, but it's a massive cult, you can see how much money is to be made if you can identify these top 25, top 10, or top 5 coins before retail money, before that $10 trillion enters the market. And we saw this in the last cycle. This is nothing new. Doge went to $94 billion because it was the best cult of the time. And Murad says if XRP can add $100 billion, guys, of market cap in a single month, people forget that this happened. This is what happens when cults reach that critical mass. Top cult memes will hit $100 billion plus next year. Murad thinks if you can identify it, such as the SPX6900, you are going to hit $100 billion of market cap, which is currently sitting around a $1 billion, just over a $1 billion market cap. That's still about 100x from today. So I want to show you in this video the two factors that Murad breaks down for what is a cult, what is a mission movement. How do you identify that? So we can either apply this matrix to something like SPX6900 and double down on our thesis, or identify some of the other cults that could be up and coming that currently have a smaller market cap. And there's two massive factors in my study that I found that Murad uses in order to identify what a cult is. And when you understand these two things, it gets so obvious on how you can reach monumental, massive market caps like the $100 billion plus level. Really quick, if you don't follow me on X, I'm Rubicon Benji. Come and give me a follow. I'm actually buying $1 of SPX6900 for every new follower I get on X until I run out of money. So come and give me a follow and I'll buy $1 on your behalf. Now, I want to start with Charlie Munger, obviously a partner in Berkshire Hathaway, I think recently passed away, but one of the wealthiest, smartest men in the world. And he has a concept, a heuristic, if you will, called inversion thinking. And he basically says it's easier to think in the negative than it is in the positive. If you're like, oh, I want to get in really good shape, if you list out everything that you would do in order to get in terrible shape and inverted it, it's kind of easier than listing out everything you do to get into shape. And so if we think about what is the top performing coin going to look like in this cycle, it's a lot harder to try and make that concrete than knowing what's going to be the worst performing coins of this cycle. And I'm using Pup Fun, which is a puppy dressed as a Pump Fun pill, launched literally a day or like less than a day ago, maybe a day and a half ago here. Pump all the way up to a 2.5 billion market cap and crashed all the way down to a $300,000 market cap. Now, this is very likely not going to be the top performing crypto of the cycle. And there's two reasons why. The holders are in literally a player versus player environment where they don't think that this is going to go. They don't have large projections that this is going to go to 200 million to $100 billion market cap. And therefore, they're not incentivized to hold, and they're all incentivized to sell quicker than one another because they're playing against each other. The second thing is they are not passionate and dedicated holders that are going to go out and market this product. There's really no one out there on Twitter making memes and making content and sharing the Pup Fun message because they don't have an affinity with it, and it's held by some pretty big wallets that could dump at any time and really clear out the last of this market cap. So if these two things basically make Pup Fun the opposite of a cult or the world's worst cult coin, have a look at what Murad says the two things that make the world's best cults are. He says the reason cults are safety from those literally pump and dump tokens is because if something is really a cult, then selling is a sin. If you're in a cult, it means you believe in the mission more than the tokens. And if you sell, it's literally a sin. And therefore, you are taking supply off the table. The most diamond hands, the most belief in the mission, and therefore less supply to be buying up. And number two, the second factor here is you have an army of skitsos working for your bags while you're asleep, shilling, onboarding, and creating media, creating the demand, which is basically, as you saw, the opposite of Pup Fun. Not only are you eliminating supply because no one wants to sell because it's a sin, but you are constantly creating more and more demand. And the token can only be squeezed one way. You do the math, it can only go up if these two things are fulfilled. And so let's start with the first one, where selling is a sin. And this segment of an interview from Murad really backs up this thesis about taking supply off the table. He says, why cult meme coins with delusional holders will go parabolic in 2025? And parabolic, guys, means it's exponential, because the more people who don't sell, the more that supply gets taken up, leaves less and less on the market literally every day until the price gets more and more. And so Murad says, when we're talking about cults, we're focusing on the supply part. What does that mean? Cults mean people are not going to sell. What we're talking about, less supply on the market. But he goes on, he says, and a lot of this stems from like the average holder. Where do they think the market is going? And he talks about, if you look at a lot of pump fund tokens in the trenches, people don't have a belief that they're going to $100 million plus. However, with something like SPX6900, the mission is to flip the stock market. The memetic ceiling, meaning the goal for this meme coin, is literally in the trillions of dollars. And people are less likely to sell when it hits 100 billion because we're still not at that memetic ceiling and that goal. Again, he doubles down just so you get this point. There's a few tweets about this, but I want to really have you understand that he says that if you have a cult, it means that supply is going to be taken off the market every single day and kept off the market because it is a sin to sell. Now, this is where SPX6900 really separates itself from the crowd, because Murad says in practice, it takes at least 6+ months for a real cult to form. Because you think about people who are making 2x's, who might be making 10 or even 50x's early on. If they want that 50x, if they turn a grand into 50 grand and they're valuing that 50 grand more than they're valuing the mission movement, we have to let them sell their tokens and have those tokens get bought up by more diamond hand holders who believe in the long-term mission to keep that supply off the market. It's the only way to establish battle-tested, hardcore community of diamond-handed holders. And this is why Murad thinks that 2023 coins, not 2021 coins, because they've had that cycle already play out with that fourth year being exponential and the most bullish, but the tokens that were launched in the middle of the bear market, who have had the non-diamond hand holders sell their tokens, sell that supply into people who aren't going to be selling, will go to the highest heights of this cycle. Study the time dynamics and price dynamics of cult building. Battle-tested community equals supply in diamond hands. If you haven't gone through those 70% pullbacks, if you haven't gone from the 6 to 12 months of doing absolutely nothing, you don't have a battle-tested community, and they're going to sell as soon as that token doubles. Equals a giant supply of media, because everyone's creating content, everyone's getting more and more passionate about that token because they've been holding for the longest. It shows true conviction, which means a safer bet and a better buy. This is unquestionable. And so to really summarize that first point of what makes a cult, Murad says, choppy crypto conditions are always bullish for cult coins. That's the battle testing we're talking about, because they reveal where real loyalty lies. This is the operating word right here, guys. Loyalty. The more loyal a community is to the token, the more cult-like it is, because, simple, they're not going to be selling their token. And therefore, this is where value will flow on the next leg up, because people can depend on not being sold into as soon as they buy a token, which moves our focus to this second point. So we've got selling as a sin, but number two, you've got an army of skitsos. Now, schizo, it's kind of interesting. I've been studying Murad for a while, but schizo is sort of a theme in crypto and a theme in memes at the moment, where it's just like crazy people who are overly passionate and going to be working on your bags on your behalf while you are asleep. And this is honestly what made me put most of my crypto portfolio into SPX6900, is because he's like, imagine having 300,000 passionate fans coming together as a tight army and going out and marketing your business and your brand on behalf of you. 300,000 people every single day. That is what the SPX6900 is. They have a passionate army of people who really believe in the mission and are marketing it on your behalf. And all you have to do is buy in and hold. And what makes them so passionate, and this is why Murad is really bullish on something like SPX6900 or other meme coins and not the utility coins that have a lot of VC funding and a lot of dilution to come, is because unlike these new utility coins, meme coins have made people rich already, which makes them way more loyal and way more likely to go out and promote the token. This is what happened to XRP that made a lot of people loyal really quickly. He says, if your coin isn't making hundreds of poor people rich, you have no community. No community equals no cult. No cult equals no attention, and no attention, you'll underperform. Now we're focusing on the attention part, the army that is going out there and doing modern day marketing, modern day promoting on social media and getting more and more attention every single day to the token. Making poor people rich is what forms the foundation of a mega cult. Murad expands this and says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. When you're holding the strongest cult in crypto, you have an army of passionate holders, and not just an army now, but hundreds of thousands of people in this army working for each other 24/7. We go back to our inversion thinking to pub fund, you can see there's only 4,500 holders. If we can even pull up even just Wormhole or one of the tokens here, SPX6900, you're going to see that there's 43,000 holders just on the Ethereum token. There's about 300,000 plus holders across the base and the Solana and the Ethereum chain. And Murad also brings up another interesting point about the tight, passionate army out there marketing the token. He says, conviction will outperform hype, community will outperform cabal, PvE, player versus environment, I believe this is a gaming term, will outperform player versus player. Player versus player is basically like the trenches over here. This is SPX6900, but back to our pub fund, our trenches here, where basically everyone's trying to buy before everyone else and then sell before everyone else on a really short time frame before they're the last crab left in the barrel and they cannot reach the exit anymore. But PvE, I mean, again, crypto is essentially a zero-sum game, because for money to go out of the token, money needs to have gone into that token. But the environment is TradFi. The environment is retail money and banking in institutions over the long term. They are the enemy that we are all banding together and performing against. Unlike a lot of meme coins where it basically is the hot potato and see if you can get out before the whole house of cards collapse. He says cults will outperform tech and holding will outperform trading. And so I'll actually take this one more step further because I found this really interesting. The more I study Murad, the more convicted I get on his thesis. Because remember we said, what makes a really strong cult? Well, it's when selling is a sin. But you can actually go one step further than that. Have a look at this. Murad says, one of the many reasons I like a cult and / movement coins is because they encourage old school Bitcoin style values, which remember guys, Bitcoin is a cult. HODL, hold on for dear life, don't sell your tokens, which is taking up the supply. DCA and evangelize. Evangelize, I'm guessing, is the going out and promoting and making sure other people are realizing the opportunity that we have, which is the marketing side. But the DCA is very interesting because Bitcoin has a strong DCA culture. And so does SPX6900. There's a lot of people who will post buying $1,000 of SPX6900 a day, buying $10 of SPX6900 a day. Even me, I'm buying $1 for every follower I get on Twitter. And this is not selling on steroids, because not only are people not selling because they're cult holders, but it's encouraged that they continue to buy as we go up, which gives this token another exponential boost because even more supply is being taken off the market. And if you're looking for the best way to buy the SPX6900, I highly recommend you use our wallet called Archie. I'm going to show you how quickly. There's literally a link in the description below because we can get dedicated token links in this wallet so you can be sure that you're buying from the right contract address on the SPX6900 wormhole. And this wallet is actually really cool because it's located inside the secure Telegram app. And so you can see, you can type in any token you want to buy. I have the SPX6900 screen pulled up, which if you use the link in below, it'll pull it up automatically from you. And you can buy the SPX6900 in literally one click of a button once you have a funded wallet. It's called Archie. You can see Archie goes and handles all the complex stuff on the blockchain and will buy as much money of SPX6900 as you want and keep it here safe and secure in your wallet. And you can buy literally any token you want on the entire Solana blockchain, and it's one of the only wallets out there where you can literally win money by signing up. We're going to be giving away a lot of SPX6900 to funded users, so make sure you use the link in description and set up a funded wallet to use the best Solana wallet in town. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.